And now, without further ado, we'll bring in our executive panel here to share their IT stories from two very different industries. Director of IT at Pandora Jewelry, Philip Kennedy, and the CIO for National Insurance Providers US Azure, Tim FitzGerald. Welcome to the Online Summit, gentlemen.
Welcome. How are you?
Thank you for being here. Now, I know you got to watch just off set from a moment ago, so you know what you're in for. An exclusive interview for this, our online audience. Before we get too deep into it, tell us a little about yourselves and your companies and what kind of business you do.
My name's Tim FitzGerald, and I'm the Senior Vice President, Chief Information Officer for US Assure. We manage, distribute, and service insurance products for reputable large carriers across the United States and Canada. We assure the success of our partners through helping them realize their opportunities and help them generate revenue. Specifically, US Assure, we're based out of Jacksonville, Florida. We have currently relationships with 11 different reputable carriers. We've got 13 products and programs in the marketplace today. We're licensed in all 50 states, and we've got 35,000 registered agents across the U.S. and Canada that are selling those products for us. And we've been in business for about 40 years, so we bring the expertise to the table.
Oh. Name, rank, serial number.
All right, I'm Philip Kennedy. I'm the Director of IT and Applications for Pandora Jewelry. I've been there for about 5 years. We are 8,000 people. We manufacture women's jewelry. We're in 80 countries now, with the manufacturing being done in Thailand. We have 6 factories in Thailand that manufacture it all. And most people in the Americas know us for the charm bracelet.
Sure.
But we actually do a full line of jewelry. We do pendants, necklaces, earrings, rings, and watches through 10,000 points of distribution across the world.
Wow. And obviously, both of you have overseen tremendous IT transformations at your respective organizations. Talk to us in the online audience about these experiences.
Well, recently we had, about 3 years ago, went through a business strategy transformation. We were a single carrier partner with Zurich, doing large construction insurance products for them. We focus on the small commercial space. And after the building bubble burst, that kind of caused a lot of fluctuation in our operations and everything else. So as a leadership team, we decided we needed to diversify our portfolio. At that time, part of the challenges we faced was that we were highly coupled in with Zurich and their infrastructure. So we had our web servers and their data centers. We leveraged their disaster recovery. We were on their mail platform. It was a great partnership, but it became very difficult for us to diversify with other carriers being that coupled into that infrastructure. And so we had to build out a lot of infrastructure, change the way that we did things, and at that time was moving Agile into the organization from a development perspective, so a lot of organizational change. And we also were moving locations, so we actually had to physically move a lot of our operations and infrastructure from that perspective. So we had a lot of change going on.
Wow.
So when I started with Pandora, I was actually a consultant about 7 years ago. There was no internal IT in the Americas. I was the first person hired in IT. And over the past 5 years, we've grown incredibly. When I first started, we were, I believe, under 100 million in sales in the Americas, and we were under 100 employees. And now we're 1,200 people in the Americas, and we'll do about 850 million in the Americas, and probably 1.8 billion globally this year. So we've seen incredible growth over the last few years.
Wow, so let's put it in context for our online audience coming from different companies, different organizations, but the same struggle. Talk about how you guys keep up with the rapid business changes today. How do you balance the business demands with the IT realities?
Well, one of the things that we did is I had put together a 3-year strategic roadmap and had worked with the other executives at the executive level to put together an organizational US Assure roadmap, and to ensure that we were aligned, we blended those 2 roadmaps together and created kind of a collaboration with the business partners to help us prioritize, because, you know, as we all know, that we only have so much bandwidth, and everyone's business priorities is number one. So kind of got into this collaborative discussion and allow the business now to do the prioritization of our backlogs, which is part of the Agile development process. So that's been working out very well.
Yeah, so we made a choice early on to be as forward as we possibly could with technology, so we really wanted to try to stay out in in front. And we chose to go with Azure. We've been developing in Azure for about 5 years now, and we're getting about 80% of our business through the Azure cloud platform, our platform as a service application that we developed. It's running in 14 countries. And yeah, we tried to keep it simple. So focused on a few platforms, hire some in-house talent to develop in those platforms, and just try to deliver value to the business as quickly as we possibly could.
Let's do a deep dive, as we say. Let's talk about some of the modern challenges you guys are facing that's perhaps unique to your industries, and how are you keeping up, how are you meeting? Like you said, you have a 3-year strategic roadmap, but sometimes there's detours and roadblocks.
Well, I think one of the largest challenges that I faced was moving from the one partner model to multiple. So now we've got projects, requests, and initiatives that are being driven by 11 different carriers, not just Zurich. And so having to adjust bandwidth and scaling up and scaling down, depending on what our partners need from us, causes a lot of infrastructure challenges. And so what we've been doing is we've moved a lot of our infrastructure into cloud. We've virtualized our server environments. We moved our telephony platforms into hosted cloud VoIP. And it's allowing us for me to have the conversation with our CFO, moving away from a CapEx to an OpEx model where we can give our customers, transactional-based pricing, and have the ability to scale up and scale back down with servers, licensing, and so forth, which helps us manage the cost that it takes to run the infrastructure at our organization.
Yeah, we have two big challenges. One for us is we're highly seasonal. So it's Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, and then holiday season where we do the majority of our business. So being able to ramp up and down with virtual platforms has really helped us out. The other thing is really we were largely manufacturing a wholesale business. We're a franchise model, so we rely on our retail partners to interact with the customers. We decided to shift our strategy a bit and take a more active role in helping them manage their business and training them and showing them how they can manage their business a little bit better. So we used Microsoft CRM, and we're managing business plans for all of our 3,500 retailers, along with marketing plans and managing their sellout information and assortment strategy.
We've got a question coming in for you guys from our online audience. One of the viewers wants to know, what are your greatest IT priorities in the next several years?
For US Assure, our biggest priority is going to be getting off some of the legacy platforms. We work in insurance. It's not the fastest moving industry. There's a lot of legacy platforms out there, and unfortunately the skill sets needed to support those are just not available. They're not teaching the kids in school the COBOL, the RPG, and so forth. So it's become an initiative for us to get off of the legacy platforms. It's changing the tire while the car's doing 55 miles an hour, because the business is not going to stop while we have to migrate onto the target technologies.
Yeah, our two big things. Data analytics is probably the biggest one. I'm sure that's a big topic for everyone. And also the retail experience. So making sure that we have a singular identity for any one of our Pandora consumers. So as soon as they walk into a Pandora store, it doesn't matter where that store is. We know who they are, what their buying habits are, and what they might like to purchase.
Okay. So in your opinions, and I know this is a broad stroke, how can someone be successful in IT?
What I've learned over the years is, be transparent. The business traditionally they don't speak our speak. It's very difficult for them to understand what all the ones and zeros that are going on. So when you talk to your partners, talk in terms of business capabilities, not in gigabits. Make sure that you have built relationships with key executives like your CFO, so they understands where the money's being spent. Make sure that you have business partners that are willing to sponsor projects. IT-driven projects alone usually don't lead to success. So you've got to really have someone sponsoring initiatives in the business. And then I think, finally, we've moved into the agile environment, and we're looking at a lot of lean processing. So getting the culture of getting people to ask, why do we do it this way? Because technology is the easy part. It's actually the change management components that are difficult, and that's probably more of a key factor for success. I think is getting the people, on board on where you're going. They understand the clear, target and vision, and then, providing the skills and tool sets to help us get there.
Yeah, I agree with what Tim said. It's really about learning the business. So making sure everyone in the IT organization knows how the business operates. We have a cross-functional training program for everyone in IT, from help desk up through the developers, where they do ride-alongs with the field team. They work with the operations team, the shipping team, so they know all the way through how the business works. It makes them a lot more productive in what they're delivering to the business.
And obviously, it's one thing to learn from successful companies, but obviously we all make mistakes in companies, and sometimes that can be a very valuable tool. Are there any things, roadblocks, things like that, stumbling points that happen along the way that you look back on that perhaps you've learned from and that maybe other companies can learn from?
I think I heard this earlier today. I think it's choosing the right team members for the initiatives you've got, because I think teams that work well together, that have building trusting relationships, and then there's the trust built across the business and IT. I think that's critical for success, and so we use the collaborative type methodologies to have the teams work together in co-located spaces, and we have the business working directly with the IT folks in the development rooms and communicating about the challenges. So I think that's the biggest thing, is make sure that you've got trust across all the key players in these large projects and initiatives.
Yeah. What do you think? Any mistakes you've made along the way that you've learned from that would be relatable?
I agree with talent and who's on the team. That's probably one of a few of the challenges that we faced. Our president says it. He says it's fit first. We have a really good atmosphere. People at Pandora are passionate about what they're doing, and you can just feel it when you walk into the building. And it's funny how one person can come into that environment and significantly disrupt it.
Sure.
Making sure, you have the right people on the team.
Great stuff. Well, guys, thanks a bunch for your time. We appreciate it. Thanks for your time and your stories.
Thank you.
Best of luck.